Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our dreadful marches changed to delightful measures. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, I that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty, I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Brother, good day. What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace?
His Majesty, tendering my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the tower.
But what's the matter, Clarence? May I know?
Yea, Richard, when I know, for I protest as yet I do not. As I can learn, he hearkens after prophecies and dreams.
Why, this it is when men are ruled by women. 'Tis not the king that sends you to the tower. My Lady Grey, his wife, Clarence, 'tis she that tempers him to this extremity. We are not safe, Clarence. We are not safe.
By heaven, I think no man is secure, but the queen's kindred.
I'll tell you what, I think it is our way, if we will keep in favor with the king, to be her men and wear her livery.
I beseech your graces both to pardon me. His Majesty hath straitly given in charge that no man shall have private conference, of what degree soever, with his brother.
Even so, and it please your worship, Brackenbury, you may partake of anything we say. We speak no treason, man. We say the king is wise and virtuous, and his noble queen well struck in years, fair and not jealous.
I beseech your grace to pardon me, and withal forbear your conference with the noble duke.
We know thy charge, Brackenbury, and will obey.
We are the queen's abjects, and must obey. Brother, farewell. I will unto the king, and whatsoever you will employ me in, I will perform it, to enfranchise you. Meantime, have patience.
I must perforce. Farewell.
Go, tread the path that thou shalt ne'er return. Simple, plain Clarence, I do love thee so that I will shortly send thy soul to heaven.
Time of day unto my gracious lord.
How now? What news abroad?
No news so bad abroad as this at home. The king is sickly, weak, and melancholy, and his physicians fear him mightily.
Now, by St. Paul, this news is bad indeed. Oh, he hath kept an evil diet long, and overmuch consumed his royal person. 'Tis very grievous to be thought upon. What, is he in his bed?
He is.
Go you before, and I will follow you. He cannot live, I hope, and must not die till Clarence be packed with post-horse up to heaven. I'll in, to urge his hatred more to Clarence with lies well steeled with weighty arguments. And if I fail not in my deep intent, Clarence hath not another day to live. Which done, God take King Edward to his mercy, and leave the world for me to bustle in. For then I'll marry Warwick's youngest daughter. What? Though I killed her husband and her father, the readiest way to make the wench amends is to become her husband and her father, the which will I. Not all so much for love as for another secret, close intent by marrying her which I must reach unto. But yet I run before my horse to market. Clarence still breathes, Edward still lives and reigns. When they are gone, then must I count my gains. Sweet saint, for charity, be not so cursed.
Foul devil! For God's sake, hence,
and trouble us not, for thou hast made the happy earth thy hell. O God, revenge the death of Henry! O earth, revenge the death of his Edward! Neither heaven with lightning strike the murderer dead, or earth gape open wide and eat him quick.
Lady, you know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses.
Villain, thou knowest no law of God nor man, no beast so fierce but know some touch of pity.
But I know none, and therefore am no beast.
Oh, wonderful when devils tell the truth.
More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils, to give me leave by circumstance but to acquit myself. Say that I slew them not.
Why, then they are not dead, but dead they are in devilish slave by thee.
I did not kill your husband.
Why, then he is alive.
Nay, he is dead, and slain by Edward's hand.
When thy foul throat thou liest, Queen Margaret saw thy murderous falchion smoking in his blood, the which thou once didst bend against her breast, but that thy brothers beat aside the point.
I was provoked by her slanderous tongue, which laid their guilt upon my guiltless shoulders.
Thou was provoked by thy bloody mind, which never dreamt on aught but butcheries. Didst thou not kill this king?
I grant ye.
Dost grant me, hedgehog! Then God grant me too, thou mayest be damned for that wicked deed. He was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The fitter for the King of heaven that hath him.
He is in heaven, for thou shalt never come.
Let him thank me, that hoped to send him thither, for he was fitter for that place than earth.
And thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you will hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your bedchamber.
Ill rest betide the chamber where thou liest.
So will it, madam, till I lie with you.
I hope so.
I know so. But, gentle Lady Anne, to leave this keen encounter of our wits and fall somewhat into a slower method, is not the causer of the timeless deaths of these Plantagenets, Henry and Edward, as blameful as the executioner?
Thou art the cause, and most accursed effect.
Your beauty was the cause of that effect. Your beauty which did haunt me in my sleep to undertake the death of all the world, so I might live 1 hour in your sweet bosom.
If I thought that, I tell thee, homicide, these nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks.
These eyes could never endure sweet beauty's wreck. You should not blemish it if I stood by. As all the world is cheered by the sun, so I by that. It is my day, my life.
Black night o'ershade thy day, and death thy life.
Curse not thyself. Fair creature, thou art both.
I would I were to be revenged on thee.
It is a quarrel most unnatural to be revenged on him that loveth you.
It is a quarrel just and reasonable to be revenged on him that slew my husband.
He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband, did it to help thee, to a better husband.
His better doth not breathe upon the earth.
He lives that loves thee better than he could.
Name him.
Plantagenet.
Why, that was he.
The self-same name, but one of better nature.
Where is he?
Here!
Would it were mortal poison for thy sake!
Never came poison from so sweet a place.
Never hung poison on a fouler toad. Out of my sight! Thou dost infect my eyes!
Thine eyes, sweet lady, have infected mine.
Would they were basilisks to strike thee dead!
I would they were, that I might die at once. For now they kill me with a living death. Those eyes of thine from mine have drawn salt tears, thy beauty hath, and made them blind with weeping. I never sued to friend nor enemy, my tongue could never learn sweet smoothing word. But now thy beauty is proposed my fee. My proud heart sues, and prompts my tongue to speak. Oh, teach not thy lips such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, lo, here I lend thee this sharp-pointed sword, which if thou please to hide in this true bosom, and let the soul forth that adoreth thee, I lay it naked to the deadly stroke, and humbly beg the death upon my knee. Nay, do not pause, for I did kill King Henry, but 'twas thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch! 'Twas I that stabbed young Edward, but 'twas thy heavenly face that set me on. Take up the sword again, or take up me.
Arise, dissembler. Though I wish thy death, I will not be the executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I will do it.
I have already.
Tush, that was in thy rage. Speak it again, and even with the word, that hand which for thy love did kill thy love, shall for thy love kill a far truer love. To both their deaths thou shalt be accessory.
I would. I knew thy heart.
'Tis figured in my tongue.
I fear me both are false.
Then never man was true.
Well, well. Put up your sword.
Say then, my peace is made.
That you shall know hereafter.
But shall I live in hope?
All men, I hope, live so.
Vouchsafe to wear this ring.
To take is not to give.
Look, how this ring encompasseth finger. Even so thy breast encloseth my poor heart. Wear both of them, for both of them are thine. Bid me farewell.
'Tis more than you deserve. Since you teach me how to flatter you, imagine I've said farewell already.
Was ever woman in this humour wooed? Was ever woman in this humour won? I'll have her, but I will not keep her long. What? I, that killed her husband and his father, to take her in her heart's extremest hate, with curses in her mouth, tears in her eyes, having God her conscience and these bars against me. And I, nothing to back my suit at all, but the plain devil and dissembling looks. And yet to win her, all the world to nothing. Ha!
Dead, what would betide of me?
No other harm but loss of such a lord.
The loss of such a lord includes all harm.
The heavens have blessed you with a goodly son, to be your comforter when he is gone.
When he is young, and in his minority is put unto the trust of Richard of Gloucester, a man that loves not me, nor none of you.
Is it concluded that he shall be protector?
It is determined, but not concluded yet. But so it must be if the king should die.
Ah, here come the lords of Buckingham and Derby.
Good time of day unto your royal grace.
God make your majesty joyful.
Saw you the king today, my lord of Derby.
But now the Duke of Buckingham and I are come from visiting his majesty.
God grant him health. Did you confer with him?
Madam, we did. He desires to make atonement betwixt the Duke of Gloucester and your brothers.
They do me wrong, and I will not endure it. Who are they that complain unto the king that I, forsooth, am stern and love them not? By holy Paul, they love his grace but lightly, that fill his ears with such dissentious rumors. Ah, because I cannot flatter and speak fair, smile in men's faces, smooth, deceive, and cog, duck with French nods and apish courtesies, I must be held a rancorous enemy? Cannot a plain man live and think no harm, but thus his simple truth must be abused by silken, sly, insinuating
To
jacks?
whom in all of this presence speaks your grace?
To thee, that hast nor honesty nor grace. When have I injured thee? When done thee wrong? Or thee, or any of your faction? A plague upon you all! His royal person, whom God preserve better than you would wish, cannot be quiet scarce a breathing while, but you must trouble him with lewd complaints.
Brother of Gloucester, you mistake the matter. The king, of his own royal disposition, and not provoked by any suitor else, aiming belike at your interior hatred, which in your outward actions shows itself, and my kindred brothers and myself makes him to send, that thereby he may gather the grounds of your ill will, and so remove it.
I cannot tell. The world is grown so bad that wrens make prey where eagles dare not perch. Meantime, God grants that we have need of you. Our brother is imprisoned by your means, myself disgraced, and the nobility held in contempt.
I never did incent his majesty against the Duke of Clarence, but have been an earnest advocate to plead for him, brother of Gloucester. I have too long borne your blunt upbraidings and bitter scoffs. By heaven, I will acquaint his majesty with those gross taunts I have often endured. I had rather be a country servant maid than a great queen with this result. To be thus taunted, scorned, and baited at, small joy have I in being England's queen.
And lessoned be that small god. I beseech thee, thy honor, state, and seat is due to me.
What? Threat you me with telling of the king? Tell him, and spare not. Look, what I have said I will avouch in presence of the king. I dare adventure to be sent to the tower. 'Tis time to speak. My pains are quite forgot.
Out, Lovel. I remember them too well. Thou slewest my husband Henry in the tower, and Edward my poor son at Tewkesbury.
Ere you were queen, yea, or your husband king, I was a pack horse in his great affairs. To royalize his blood, I spilt mine own.
Hie thee to hell for shame, and leave the world, thou cacodemon. There thy kingdom is.
My lord of Gloucester, in those busy days which here you urge to prove us enemies, we followed then our lord, our lawful king. So should we you, if you should be our king.
If I should be, I had rather be a peddler. Far be it from my heart, the thought of it.
As little joy, my lord, as you suppose you should enjoy were you this country's king. That I enjoy, being the queen thereof.
Hear me, you wrangling pirates, that fall out in sharing that which you have pilled from me. Which of you trembles not that looks on me? Oh, gentle villain, do not turn away.
Foul wrinkled witch! What makest thou in my sight?
What repetition of what thou hast marred? That will I make before I let thee go.
Wert thou not banished on pain of death?
I was. But I do find more pain in banishment than death can yield me here by my abode. A husband and a son thou owest to me. And thou a kingdom. All of you allegiance. The sorrow that I have by right is yours, and all the pleasures you usurp are mine.
The curse my noble father laid on thee are all fallen upon thee. And God, not we, hath plagued thy bloody deed.
So just is God.
What were you snarling all before I came, ready to catch each other by the throat? And turn you all your hatred now on me? Did York's dread curse prevail so much with heaven? Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then, give way, O clouds, to my quick curses. If not by war, by surfeit, die your king, as ours by murder, to make him a king. Edward, thy son, which now is Prince of Wales, die in his youth by untimely violence. Thyself a queen for me that was a queen. Outlive thy glory like my wretched self. Long mayest thou live to wail thy children's loss. See another as I see thee now. Decked in thy rights as thou art stalled in mine. Long die thy happy days before thy death, and after many lengthened hours of grief, die neither mother, wife, nor England's queen.
Have done thy charm, thou hateful withered hag.
And leave out thee? Stay, dog, for thou shalt hear me. Thy friends suspect for traitors, and take thee traitors for thy dearest friends. No sleep close up that deadly eye of thine, unless it be while some tormenting dream affrights thee with the hell of ugly devils. Thou elvish mark, the board of brooding hall, the slave of nature and the son of hell. Thou slander of thy mother's heavy womb, thou loath issue of thy father's loins, thou rag of order, thou detested!
Margaret!
Richard!
Ha!
I call thee not.
I cry thee mercy then, for I had thought that thou hadst called me all these bitter names.
Why, so I did, but looked for no reply. Oh, let me make the period to my curse.
'Tis done by me, and ends in Margaret.
Thus have you breathed your bitter curse against yourself.
Poor, painted queen. Thou whettest a knife to kill thyself. The time will come when thou shalt wish for me to help thee curse that poisonous bunchback toad.
Have done, for shame if not for charity.
Urge neither charity nor shame to me. Uncharitably with me have you dealt, and shamefully by you my hopes are butchered. My charity is outrage, life my shame, and in that shame still live my sorrow's rage.
Have done. Have done.
Oh, Buckingham, take heed of yonder dog. Look, when he fawns, he bites, and when he bites, his venom tooth will wrinkle to the death. Have not to do with him, beware of him. Sin, death, and hell have set their marks on him, and all their ministers attend on him.
What doth she say, my lord of Buckingham?
Nothing that I respect, my gracious lord.
What? Dost thou scorn me for my gentle counsel, and sue the devil that I warned thee from? Oh, but remember this another day, when he shall split thy very heart with sorrow, and say poor Margaret was a prophetess.
My hair doth stand on end to hear her curses, and so doth mine.
I muse why she's at liberty.
I cannot blame her. By God's holy mother, she hath had too much wrong, and I repent my part thereof that I have done to her.
I never did her any, to my knowledge.
But you have all the vantage of her wrong.
A virtuous and a Christian-like conclusion. To pray for them that have done scathe to us.
So do I ever, being well advised. For had I cursed now, I had cursed myself.
Madam, His Majesty doth call for you, and for your grace, and you, my noble lord.
Catesby, we come. Lords, will you go with us? Madam, we will attend your grace.
The secret mischiefs that I set abroach I lay unto the grievous charge of others. Clarence, whom I indeed have laid in darkness, I do beweep to many simple goals, namely Hastings, Derby, Buckingham, and say it is the Queen and her allies that stir the king against the Duke my brother. Now, they believe it, and withal wet me be revenged on Rivers, Vahn, Grey. But then I sigh, and with a piece of scripture tell them God bids us do good for evil. And thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends, stolen out of holy writ, and seem a saint when most I play the devil. Are you now going to dispatch this deed?
I am, my lord, and come to have the warrant, that I may be admitted where he is.
Well thought upon. I have it here. But, sir, be sudden in the execution. With all obdurate, do not hear him plead. For Clarence is well spoken, and perhaps may move your heart to pity if you mark him.
Fear not, my lord, I will not stand to prate. Talkers are no good doers. Be assured, I come to use my hands and not my tongue.
I like you, lad. About your business straight. Go. Go, dispatch.
I will, my lord.
Why so? Now have we done a good day's work, and now in peace my soul shall part to heaven, since I have set my friends at peace on earth. Madame, yourself are not exempt in this, nor your son Dorset, Buckingham, nor you. You have been factious, one against the other. Wife, love Lord Hastings. Take him to your heart, and what you do it unfeignedly.
Dear Hastings, I will never more remember our former hatred, so thrive I and mine.
Now, princely Buckingham, seal thou this league with thy embracements to my wife's allies, and make me happy in your unity.
Whenever Buckingham doth turn his hate on you or yours, God punish me with hate in those where I expect most love.
A pleasing cordial, princely Buckingham. There wanteth now our brother Gloucester here, to make the perfect period of this peace.
And in good time, here comes the noble Duke.
Good morrow to my sovereign king and queen, and princely peers, a happy time of day.
Happy indeed as we've spent the day. Brother, we done deeds of charity, made peace, enmity, fair love of hate between these swelling, wrong-incensed peers.
A blessed labor, my most sovereign liege. Amongst this princely heap, if any here, by false intelligence or wrong surmise, hold me a foe, I desire to reconcile me to his friendly peace. 'Tis death to me to be at enmity. I hate it, and desire all good men's love. Dukes, earls, lords, gentlemen, indeed, of all.
A holy day will this be kept hereafter. liege, I do beseech your majesty to take our brother, Clarence, to your grace.
Madam, who knows not that the noble duke is dead? You do him injury to scorn his
Who
corpse.
knows not he is dead? Who knows he is? All-seeing heaven, what a world this is!
Is Clarence dead? The order was reversed.
But he, poor soul, by your first order died, and that a winged Mercury did bear. Some tardy cripple bore the countermand.
Oh God, I fear thy justice will take hold on me, and you, and mine, and yours for this. Come, Hastings, help me to my closet. Oh, poor Clarence.
This is the fruit of rashness. Marked you not how that the guilty kindred of the queen looked pale when they did hear of Clarence's death? Oh, they did urge it still unto the king. God will revenge it. But, come, let us in to comfort Edward with our company.
We wait upon your grace.
Oh, who will hinder me to wail and weep, to chide my fortune and torment myself? I'll join with black despair against my soul, and to myself become an enemy.
What means this scene of rude impatience?
To make an act of tragic violence. Edward, my lord, your son, our king, is dead.
So much interest have I in thy sorrow as I had title in thy noble husband. I have bewept a worthy husband's death and lived by looking on his images. But now 2 mirrors of his princely semblance are cracked in pieces by malignant death. And I for comfort have but one false glass which grieves me when I see my shame in him. Thou art a widow, yet thou art a mother, and hast the comfort of thy children left thee. But death hath snatched my husband from mine arms and plucked 2 crutches from my feeble limbs. Edward and Clarence, oh, what cause have I? Thine being but a moiety of my grief to overgo thy plaints and drown thy cries.
Madam, bethink you, like a careful mother, of the young prince your son, sent straight for him. Let him be crowned, in him your comfort lives. Drown desperate sorrow in dead Edward's grave, and plant your joys in living Edward's throne.
Madam, have comfort. All of us have cause to wail the dimming of our shining star, but none can cure their harms by wailing them. Ah, madam, my mother, I do cry you mercy. I did not see your grace. Humbly, on my knee, I crave your blessing.
God bless thee and put meekness in thy mind. Love, charity, obedience, and true duty.
Amen.
You cloudy princes, and heart-sorrowing tears, that bear this mutual heavy load of moan, now cheer each other in each other's love. Though we have spent our harvest of this king, we are to reap the harvest of his son. Seemeth good that with some little train forthwith from Ludlow, the young prince be fetched hither to London to be crowned our king.
Then be it so. And go we to determine who they shall be, that straight shall post to Ludlow. Madam, and you, my mother, will you go to give your censures in this weighty business?
With all
With
our
our
hearts.
My lord, whoever journeys to the prince, for God's sake, let not us too be behind.
My other self, my council's consistory, my oracle, my prophet, my dear cousin, I, like a child, will go by thy direction, towards Ludlow then, for we'll not stay behind.
Well, madam, and in health.
What is thy news then?
Lord Rivers and Lord Grey are sent to Pomfret, with them Sir Thomas Vahn, prisoners.
Who hath committed them?
The mighty dukes, Gloucester and Buckingham.
For what offence?
The sum of all I have disclosed. Why, or for what these nobles were committed, is all unknown to me, my gracious lady.
Ay me, I see the downfall of our house. The tiger now hath seized the gentle hind. Insulting tyranny begins to jet upon the innocent, and all is thrown. Welcome destruction, death, and massacre. I see as in a map the end of all.
Accursed and unquiet wrangling days. How many of you have mine eyes beheld? My husband lost his life to get the crown, and often up and down my sons were tossed, for me to joy and weep their gain and loss. And being seated and domestic royals clean overblown themselves, the conquerors make war upon themselves. Blood against blood, self against self. Oh, preposterous and frantic outrage, end thy damned spleen, or let me die to look on death no more.
Come, I'll conduct you to sanctuary.
The young princes do repose at the tower. They do not like the place.
So wise, so young, they say, do never live long.
Now, my lord, what shall we do if we perceive Lord Hastings will not yield to our complots?
Chop off his head, man, something we will do. And look, when I am king, claim thou of me the earldom of Hereford, and the movables whereof the king my brother stood possessed.
I'll claim that gift at your grace's hands.
And look to have it yielded with all willingness.
Many good morrows to my noble lord.
Good morrow, Catesby. You are early stirring. What news? What news in this our tottering state?
It is a reeling world indeed, my lord, and I believe 'twill never stand upright till Richard wears the garland of the realm.
Where's the garland? Dost thou mean the crown?
Aye, my good lord.
I'll have this crown of mine cut from my shoulders, ere I will see the crown so foul misplaced. But canst thou guess that he doth aim at it?
Aye, on my life, and hopes to find you forward upon his party for the gain thereof. And thereupon he sends you this good news, that this same very day, your enemies, the kindred of the queen, must die at Pomfret.
Indeed, I am no mourner for that news, because they have been still mine enemies, but that I'll give my voice on Richard's side, to bar my master's heirs in true descent, God knows, I will not do it. To the death.
'Tis a vile thing to die, my gracious lord, when men are unprepared and look not for it.
Monstrous, monstrous. And so falls it out with Rivers, Vahn, Grey, and so 'twill do with some men else, who think themselves as safe as thou and I, who, as thou knowest, are dear to princely Richard and to Buckingham.
The princes both make high accounts of you, for they account his head upon the bridge.
My lords, at once, the cause why we are met is to determine of the coronation. In God's name, speak, when is the royal day? Are all things fitting for that royal time?
It is, and wants but nomination.
Tomorrow, then, I judge a happy day.
Ah! I pray you all, tell me what they deserve that do conspire my death with devilish plots of damned witchcraft, and that have prevailed upon my body with their hellish charms.
The tender love I bear your grace, my lord, makes me most forward in this noble presence to doom the offenders. Whatsoe'er they be, I say, my lord, they've deserved death.
Then be your eyes the witness of this ill. See how I am bewitched! Behold, mine arm is like a blasted sapling withered up! And this is Edward's wife, that monstrous witch, and by her witchcraft thus have marked me.
They have done this thing, my noble lord.
If thou protector of this damned strumpet, tellest thou me of ifs? Thou art a traitor. Off with his head! Now by St. Paul, I swear I will not dine until I see the same. Lovel, Ratcliffe, look that it be done. The rest that love me, follow me.
Oh,
bloody Richard. Miserable England, I prophesy the fearfulest time to thee that ever wretched age hath looked upon. Come, lead me to the block. Bear him my head. They smile at me that shortly shall be dead.
Here's the head of that ignoble traitor, the dangerous and unsuspected Hastings.
So dear I loved the man that I must weep. I took him for the plainest, harmless creature.
Would you imagine the subtle traitor? This day had plotted in the council house to murder me and my good lord of Gloucester.
Now fair befall you, he deserved his death. And you, my good lords, both have well proceeded to warn false traitors from the like attempts.
Yet had not we determined he should die until your lordship came to see his death, which now the loving haste of these our friends, somewhat against our meaning, has prevented. Because, my lord, we would have had you heard the traitor speak, and timorously confess the manner and the purpose of his treason, that you might well have signified the same unto the citizens, who haply may misconstrue us in him and wail his death.
But, my good lord, your grace's word shall serve as well as I had seen and heard him speak. And doubt you not, right noble princes both, but I'll acquaint our duteous citizens with all your just proceedings in this cause.
Go. After, cousin Buckingham. The mayor towards Guildhall hies him at all post. There, at your meet's advantage of the time, infer the bastardy of Edward's children. Moreover, urge his hateful appetite and bestial luxury and change of lust, which stretch to their servants, daughters, wives. Tell them, when that my mother went with child of that unsatiate Edward, noble York, my princely father, then had wars in France. And by just computation of the time, found that the issue was not his begot. But touch this sparingly, as 'twere far off, because you know, my lord, my mother lives.
Fear not, my lord. I'll play the order, as if the golden fee for which I plead were for myself. So, my lord, adieu.
Now will I in, to take some privy order, and to give notice that no manner of person at any time have recourse unto the princes.
The mayor's here at hand. Pretend some fear. Be not you spoke with, but by mighty suit. And look you, get a prayer book in your hand. And be not easily won to our request. Play the maid's part, still answer nay, and take it.
I go, and if you plead as well for them as I can say nay to thee for myself, no doubt will bring it to a happy issue.
Go to, the Lord Mayor knocks. Welcome, my lord. I dance attendance here. I think the Duke will not be spoke withal. Here comes the servant. How now, Catesby? What says he?
My lord, he doth entreat your grace to visit him tomorrow the next day. He's within with two right reverend fathers divinely bent to meditation, and no worldly suit will he be moved to draw him from his holy exercise.
Return, good Catesby, to thy lord again. Tell him myself, the mayor, and citizens, in deep designs and matters of great moment, no less importing than our general good, are come to have some conference with his grace.
I tell him what you say, my lord.
My lord, this prince is not an Edward. He's not lollying on a lewd daybed, but on his knees at meditation. Not dallying with a brace of courtesans, but meditating with two deep divines. Not sleeping to engross his idle body, but praying to enrich his watchful soul. Happy were England would this gracious prince take on himself the sovereignty thereof, but sure I fear we shall ne'er win him to it.
Mary, God forbid his grace should say us nay.
I fear he will. Oh, how now, Catesby? What says your lord?
My lord, he wonders to what end you have assembled such troops of citizens to speak with him. His grace not being warned thereof before, my lord, he fears you mean no good to him.
Sorry I am my noble cousin should suspect me, that I mean no good to him. By heaven, I come in perfect love to him, and so once more return and tell his grace. When holy and devout religious men are at their beads, 'tis hard to draw them thence. So sweet is zealous contemplation. See, a book of prayer in his hand, true ornaments to know a holy man. Famous Plantagenet, most gracious prince, lend favorable ears to our request, and pardon us the interruption of thy devotion and right Christian zeal.
My lord, there needs no such apology. I rather do beseech you pardon me, who, earnest in the service of my God, neglect the visitation of my friends. But, leaving this, what is your grace's pleasure?
Even that I hope which pleaseth God above, and all good men of this ungoverned isle.
I suspect I have done some offense that seems disgracious in the city's eyes, and that you come to reprehend my ignorance.
You have, my lord. Would it might please your grace at our entreaties to amend that fault? Then know it is your fault that you resign the supreme seat, the throne majestical, the sceptred office of your ancestors, to the corruption of a blemished stock, which to recure, we heartily solicit your gracious self to take on you the charge and kingly government of this your land, not as protector, steward, substitute, or lowly factor for another's gain, but as successively, from blood to blood, your right of birth, your empery, your own.
I know not whether to depart in silence or bitterly to speak in your reproof. Your love deserves my thanks, but my desert unmeritable shuns your high request. But God be thanked, there's no need of me, and much I need to help you if need were. The royal tree hath left us royal fruit. On him I lay what you would lay on me, the right and fortune of his happy stars, which God defend that I should wring from him.
Do good, my lord, your citizens entreat you.
Refuse not, mighty lord, this proffered love.
Oh, make them joyful, grant their lawful suit.
Alas! Why would you heap these cares on me? I am unfit for state and majesty. I do beseech you, take it not amiss. I cannot, nor I will not, yield to you.
If you refuse it, as in love and zeal, loath to depose the child, your brother's son, as well we know your tenderness of heart, and gentle, kind, effeminate remorse, which we have noted in you to your kin, and eagerly indeed to all estates. Yet, whether you accept our suit or no, your brother's son shall never reign our king. Come, citizens, zoons, I'll entreat no more.
Oh, do not swear, my lord of Buckingham.
Call them again, my lord, and accept their suit.
Do, good my lord, lest all the land do rue it.
Would you enforce me to a world of care? Well, call them again. I am not made of stone, but penetrable to your kind entreats, albeit against my conscience and my soul. Cousin of Buckingham, and you sage grave men, since you will buckle fortune on my back to bear her burthen whether I will or no, I must have patience to endure the load. For God, he knows, and you may partly see how far I am from the desire thereof.
God bless your grace. We see it and will say it.
In saying so, you shall but say the truth.
Then I salute you with this kingly title. Long live Richard, England's royal king!
Amen!
Tomorrow will it please you to be crowned?
Even when you please, since you will have it so.
Tomorrow then we will attend your grace, and so most joyfully we take our leave.
Come, let us to our holy task again. Farewell, good cousin. Farewell, gentle friends.
How doth the prince and my young son of York?
Right well, dear madam. By your patience, I may not suffer you to visit them. The king hath straitly charged the contrary.
The king? Who is that?
I cry you mercy. I mean the Lord Protector.
The Lord protect him from that kingly title. Hath he set bounds betwixt their love and me? I am their mother. Who should keep me from them?
I am their father's mother. I will see them.
Their aunt I am in law, in love their mother. Then bring me to their sights. I'll bear thy blame and take thy office from thee on my peril.
No, madam, no. I may not leave it so. I am bound by oath, and therefore, pardon me.
Come, madam, you must straight to Westminster, there to be crowned Richard's royal queen.
Ha! Oh, cut my lace in sunder that my pent heart may have some scope to beat, or else I swoon with this dead-killing news.
Despiteful tidings! Oh, unpleasing news!
Stand and speak not to me. Go, get thee hence. Go, hie thee from this slaughterhouse, lest thou increase the number of the dead.
Oh, ill-dispersing wind of misery! Oh, my accursed womb, the bed of death, a cockatrice hast thou hatched to the world, whose unavoided eye is murderous.
Come, madam, come, I in all haste was sent.
And I in all unwillingness will go. Anointed, let me be with deadly venom and die, ere men can say, God save the queen.
Go, poor soul. I envy not thy glory to feed my humors. Wish thyself no harm.
No. Why? When he that is my husband now came to me, as I followed Henry's corpse, when scarce the blood was well washed from his hands, which issued from my other angel husband. Oh, when I say I looked on Richard's face, this was my wish. Be thou, quoth I, accursed for making me so young, so old a widow. And when thou wettest, let sorrow haunt thy bed. And be thy wife, if any be so mad, as miserable by the life of thee as thou hast made me by my dear lord's death. Lo, ere I can repeat this curse again, even in so short a space, my woman's heart grossly grew captive to his honey words and proved the subject of my own soul's curse. Ever since have kept my eyes from rest, for never yet 1 hour in his bed have I enjoyed the golden dew of sleep, but have been waked by his timorous dreams. Besides, he hates me for my father Warwick, and will no doubt shortly be rid of me.
Poor soul, adieu. I pity thy complaining.
No more than from my soul I mourn for yours.
Farewell, thou woeful welcomer of glory.
Adieu, poor soul that takest thy leave of it.
Go thou to Richard, and good angels guard thee. Go thou to sanctuary, and good thoughts possess thee. I to my grave, where peace and rest lie with me.
Stay. Yet look back with me into the tower. Pity, you ancient stones, those tender babes whom envy hath immured within your walls. Rough cradle for such little pretty ones. Rude, ragged nurse. Use my babies well.
Stand all apart. Cousin of Buckingham,
My gracious sovereign.
give me thine ear. Thus high, by thy advice and thy assistance, is King Richard seated. But shall we wear these honors for a day, or shall they last, and we rejoice in them?
Still live they, and forever may they last.
O Buckingham, now do I play the touch, to try if thou be current gold indeed. Young Edward lives. Think now what I would say.
Say on, my loving lord.
Why, Buckingham, I say I would be king.
Why, so you are my thrice renowned liege.
Ha! Am I king? 'Tis so. But Edward lives.
True, noble prince.
Oh, bitter consequence that Edward still should live. True, noble prince. Cousin, thou wert not wont to be so dull. Shall I be plain? I wish the bastards dead, and I would have it suddenly performed. What sayest thou? Speak suddenly, be brief.
Your grace may do your pleasure.
Tut, tut, thou art all ice, thy kindness freezeth. Say, have I thy consent that they shall die?
Give me some breath, some little pause, my lord.
High-reaching Buckingham grows circumspect. The deep-revolving, witty Buckingham no more shall be the neighbor to my counsel. Hath he so long held out with me untired? And stops he now for breath? How now? What news with you?
My lord, I hear the Marquis Dorset's fled to Richmond, in those parts beyond the sea where he abides.
Catesby!
My lord?
Rumor it abroad that Anne, my wife, is sick, and like to die. I must be married to my brother's daughter, or else my kingdom stands on brittle glass. Murder her brothers and then marry her. Uncertain way of gain, but I am in so far in blood that sin will pluck on sin. Tear-falling pity dwells not in this eye. Is thy name Tyrell?
James Tyrell, and your most obedient subject.
Art thou indeed?
Prove me, my gracious sovereign.
Darest thou resolve to kill a friend of mine?
Aye, my lord. But I'd rather kill two enemies.
Why, there thou hast it. Two deep enemies. Foes to my rest and my sweet sleeps, disturbers are they that I would have thee deal upon. Tyrell, I mean those bastards in the tower.
Let me have open means to come to them, and soon I'll rid you from your fear of them.
Thou singest sweet music. Shall we hear from thee, Tyrell, ere we sleep?
Ye shall, my lord.
My lord, I have considered it in my mind the late demand you did sound me in.
Well, let that pass. Dorset's fled to Richmond.
I hear that news, my lord. My lord, I claim your gift, my due by promise. The earldom of Hereford and the movables, the which you promised I should possess. What says your highness to my just demand?
As I remember, Henry VI did prophesy that Richmond should be king when Richmond was a little peevish boy. A king, perhaps. Perhaps!
My lord.
How chance the prophet could not that time have told me, I being by, that I should kill him.
My lord, the promise for the earldom.
Richmond! A bard of Ireland told me once I should not live long after I saw Richmond.
My lord.
Aye. What's o'clock?
I am thus bold to put your grace in mind of what you promised me.
Well, but what's o'clock?
Upon the stroke of 10.
Well, let it strike.
Why let it strike?
Because thou keep'st the stroke betwixt thy begging and my meditation. I am not in the giving vein today.
Why then resolve me whether you will or no.
Tut, thou troublest me! Am not in the vein.
Is it even so? Rewards he my true service with such deep contempt made I him king for this? Oh, let me think on Hastings and be gone to Brecknock while my fearful head is on. Kind Tyrell.
Oh, hail, my gracious sovereign.
Am I happy in thy news?
If you have done the thing you gave in charge, beget your happiness. Be happy then, for it is done, my lord.
But didst thou see them dead?
I did, my lord.
Come to me, Tyrell, soon and after supper, and thou shalt tell the process of their death. Meantime, but think how I may do thee good, and be inheritor of thy desire. Farewell till soon. The sons of Edward sleep in Abraham's bosom, and Anne, my wife, hath bid the world good night. Now, for I know that devil Richmond aims at young Elizabeth, my brother's daughter, and by that knot looks proudly o'er the crown, to her I go, a jolly thriving wooer.
My lord!
Good news or bad that thou comest in so bluntly?
Bad news, my lord. Eli's fled to Richmond, and Buckingham is in the field.
Eli with Richmond troubles me more near than Buckingham and his rash levied army. Come, muster men. My counsel is thy shield. We must be brief when traitors brave the field.
young princes. Ah, my tender babes. If yet your gentle souls fly in the air and be not fixed in doom perpetual, hover about me with your airy wings and hear your mother's lamentation.
So many miseries have crazed my voice that my woe-weary tongue is mute and dumb.
Plantagenet doth quit Plantagenet. Edward for Edward pays a dying debt.
Wilt thou, O God, fly from such gentle lambs and throw them in the entrails of the wolf?
Dead life, blind sight, poor mortal living ghost. Woe seen world's shame, graves due by life usurped. Brief abstract and record of tedious days, rest thy unrest on England's lawful earth, unlawfully made drunk with innocent blood.
Oh, who hath any cause to mourn but I?
If ancient sorrow be most reverend, give mine the benefit of scenery if sorrow can admit society. Tell all your woes again by viewing mine. I had an Edward till a Richard killed him. I had a Harry till a Richard killed him. Thou hast an Edward till a Richard killed him. Thou hast a Richard till a Richard killed him.
I had a Richard too, and thou didst kill him. I'd a Rutland too, thou hopest to kill him.
Thou hast a Clarence too, and Richard killed him. From forth the kennel of thy womb hath crept a hellhound that doth hunt us to death. That dog that had his teeth before his eyes to worry lambs and lap their gentle blood. That foul defacer of God's handiwork. Thy womb let loose to chase us to our graves. O upright, just, and true disposing God, how do I thank thee that this carnal cur preys on the issue of his mother's body?
Oh, Harry's wife, triumph not in my woes. God witness with me, I have wept for thine.
Bear with me, I am hungry for revenge. Thy Edward, he is dead, that stabbed my Edward. Thy other Edward dead to quit my Edward. Thy Clarence, he is dead, that killed my Edward, and the beholders of this tragic play. The adulterate Hastings, Rivers, Vahn, Grey, untimely smothered in their dusky graves. Richard yet lives. Earth gapes, hell burns, fiends roar, saints pray to have him suddenly conveyed away. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray that I might live to say the dog is dead.
Oh, thou didst prophesy. The time would come when I should wish for thee to help me curse that bottled spider, that foul bunchback toad.
I called thee then vain flourish of my fortune. I called thee then poor shadow, painted queen. One heaved a high to be hurled down below. A mother only mocked with two sweet babes. Where is thy husband now? Where be thy brothers? Where are thy children? Wherein dost thou joy? Who sues to thee and cries, God save the queen? Thus hath the course of justice rolled about, and left thee but a very prey to time, having no more but thought of what thou wast, to torture thee the more, being what thou art. Thou didst usurp my place, and dost thou not usurp the just proportion of my sorrow? Now thy proud neck bears half my burdened yoke, from which even here I slip my weary head, and leave the burden of it all on thee. Farewell, York's wife, and queen of sad mischance. These English woes will make me smile in France.
Oh, thou well skilled in curses, stay a while, and teach me to curse mine enemies.
Forbear to sleep the nights and fast the days. Compare dead happiness with living woe. Think that thy babes were fairer than they were, and he that slew them fouler than he is. Bettering thy loss makes the bad causer worse. Revolving this will teach thee how to curse.
My words are dull, oh, quicken them with thine.
Thy woes will make them sharp and pierce like mine.
Why should calamity be full of words?
windy attorneys to their client woes. Airy succeeders of untested joys, poor breathing orators of miseries. Let them have scope. Though what they do impart help not all, yet they do ease the heart.
If so, then be not tongue-tied. Go with me, and in the breath of bitter words let's smother my damned son, which thy two sweet sons smothered.
Who intercepts my expedition?
Oh, she that might have intercepted thee from all the slaughters, wretch, that thou hast done by strangling thee in her accursed womb.
Tell me, thou villain slave, where are my children?
Thou toad, where is thy brother Clarence?
Where is kind Hastings? Rivers, Vahn, Grey.
Let not the heavens hear these telltale women rail on the Lord's anointed. Strike, I say! Either be patient and entreat me fair, or with the clamorous report of war will I drown out your exclamations.
Art thou my son?
I thank God, my father, and yourself.
Then patiently hear my impatience.
Madam, I have a touch of your condition which cannot brook the accent of reproof.
Oh, let me speak.
Do then, but I'll not hear.
I'll be mild and gentle in my speech.
And brief, good mother, for I am in haste.
Art thou so hasty? I've saved for thee, God knows, in anguish, pain, and agony.
And came I not at last to comfort you?
No. By the holy rood, thou knowest it well, thou camest on earth to make the earth my hell. Either thou wilt die by God's just ordinance ere from this war thou turn a conqueror, or I, with grief and extreme age, shall perish and never look upon thy face again. Therefore take with thee my most heavy curse. Bloody thou art, bloody will be thy end. Shame serves thy life and doth thy death attend.
Though far more cause, yet far less spirit to curse abides in me, I'll say amen to all.
Stay, madam. I must speak a word with you.
I have no more sons of the royal blood for thee to murder. For my daughters, Richard, they shall be praying nuns and not weeping queens. Therefore, level not to hid their lives.
You have a daughter called Elizabeth, virtuous and fair, royal and gracious.
And must she die for this? Oh, let her live. And I'll corrupt her manners, stain her beauty, slander myself as false to Edward's bed, throw over her the veil of infamy, so she may live unscarred of bleeding slaughter. I will confess she was not Edward's daughter.
Wrong not her birth. She is of royal blood.
To save her life, I'll say she is not so.
Her life is only safest in her birth.
And only in that safety died her brothers.
Lo, at their births, good stars were opposite.
No, to their lives bad friends were contrary.
All unavoided is the doom of destiny.
True, when avoided grace makes destiny. My boys were destined to a fairer death, if grace had blessed thee with a fairer life.
You speak as if that I had slain my cousins.
Cousins, indeed. And by their uncle, cousin of comfort, kingdom, kindred, freedom, life. Whose hand soever lanced their tender hearts, thy head all indirectly gave direction. My tongue should to thine ears not name my boys till that my nails were anchored in thine eyes, and I in such a desperate bay of death, like a poor bark of sails and tackling reft, rush all to pieces on thy rocky bosom.
Madam, as I intend more good to you and yours than ever you or yours were by me wronged.
What good is covered with the face of heaven to be discovered that can do me good?
The advancement of your children, gentle lady.
Up to some scaffold, there to lose their heads.
No, to the dignity and height of honor, the high imperial type of this earth's glory.
Flatter my sorrows with report of it. Tell me, what state, what dignity, what honor canst thou demise to any child of mine?
Then know that from my soul I love thy daughter, and mean to make her queen of England.
Say then, who dost thou mean shall be her king?
Even he that makes her queen. Who should be else?
What? Thou?
Aye, even I. What think you of it, madam?
How canst thou woo her?
That would I learn of you, as one that are best acquainted with her humor.
And wilt thou learn of me?
Oh, madam, with all my heart.
Send to her, by the man who slew her brothers, a pair of bleeding hearts, thereon engraved Edward and York. Then haply she will weep. Therefore present to her, as sometime Margaret did to thy father, steeped in Rutland's blood, a handkerchief, which say did drain that purple sap from her sweet brother's body. If this inducement force her not to love, send her a story of thy noblest acts. Tell her how thou madest away with her uncle Clarence, her uncle Rivers, and yea, for her sake, madest quick conveyance with her good Aunt Anne.
Come, you mock me. This is not the way to win your daughter.
There is no other way, unless thou can put on some other shape, and be not Richard, who hath done all this.
Say that I did all this for love of her.
Nay, for then indeed she cannot choose but hate thee, having bought love with such a bloody spoil.
Look, what is done cannot be now amended. Men will deal unadvisedly, sometimes. If I did take the kingdom from your sons, to make amends, I'll give it to your daughter. If I have killed the issue of your womb, to quicken your increase, I will beget mine issue of your blood upon your daughter. I cannot make you what amends I would. Therefore accept such kindness as I can. Go then, my mother. To thy daughter go. Make bold her bashful years with your experience. Prepare her ears to hear a wooer's tale. Put in her tender heart the aspiring flame of golden sovereignty. Acquaint the princess with the sweet, silent hours of marriage joys. And when this armed mind hath chastised the petty rebel, dull-brained Buckingham, bound with triumphant garlands will I come and lead thy daughter to a conqueror's bed, to whom I will retail my conquest won, and she shall be sole victress, Caesar's Caesar.
What were I best to say? Her father's brother would be her lord? Or shall I say her uncle? Or he that slew her brothers and her uncles? Under what title shall I woo for thee, that God, the law, my honor, and her love can make seem pleasing to her tender years?
Infer fair England's peace by this alliance,
which she shall purchase with lasting war.
Say that the king, which may command, entreats.
To wail the tide as her mother doth.
Say I will love her everlastingly.
But how long shall that title ever last?
Sweetly in force unto her fair life's end.
But how long fairly shall her sweet life last?
So long as nature and heaven lengthens it.
So long as hell and Richard likes of it.
Be eloquent on my behalf to her.
An honest tale speeds best being plainly told.
Then in plain terms tell her my loving tale.
Plain and not honest is too harsh a style.
Your reasons are too shallow and too quick.
Oh no, my reasons are too deep and dead. Too deep and dead infants in their grave.
Harp not on that string, madam, that is past.
Harp on it still shall I, till heartstrings break.
I swear.
By nothing, for this is no oath. If something thou wilt swear by to be believed, swear then by something thou hast not wronged.
Now by the world.
'Tis full of thy wrongs.
My father's death.
Thy life that hath dishonored.
Then by myself.
Thyself misusest.
Why then by God!
God's wrong is most of all!
As I intend to prosper and repent, heaven and fortune bar me happy hours. In her consists my happiness and thine. Without her follows to this land and to me, to thee, herself, and many a Christian soul, death, desolation, ruin, and decay. It cannot be avoided but by this. It will not be avoided but by this. Therefore, good mother, I must call you so, be the attorney of my love to her. Plead what I will be, not what I have been. Not my deserts, but what I will deserve. Urge the necessity and state of times, and be not peevish fond in great designs.
Shall I be tempted of the devil thus?
Aye, if the devil tempt thee to do good.
Shall I forget myself to be myself?
Aye, if your self's remembrance wrong yourself.
But thou didst kill my children.
But in your daughter's womb I bury them.
shall I go win my daughter to thy will.
And be a happy mother by the deed.
I go. Write to me very shortly, and thou wilt understand from me her mind.
Bear her my true love's kiss, and so farewell. Relenting fool, and shallow changing woman. How now, what news?
My liege, the Duke of Buckingham is taken. That's the best news. That the Earl of Richmond is with a mighty power landing in Milford is colder tidings, yet they must be told.
Away, towards Salisbury. While we reason here, a royal battle might be won and lost. Someone take order Buckingham be brought to Salisbury. The rest march on with me.
Fellows in arms, and my most loving friends, bruised beneath the yoke of tyranny, thus far into the bowels of the land have we marched on, without impediment. The wretched, bloody, and usurping boar that spoils your summer fields and your fruitful vines swills your warm blood like wash, and makes his trough in your emboweled bosoms. This foul swine lies now even in the center of this isle. In God's name, cheerly on, courageous friends, to reap the harvest of perpetual peace by this one bloody trial of sharp war.
Here will I lie in Bosworth Field tonight. But where tomorrow? Well, all's one for that. Who hath described the number of the foe?
6,000 or 7,000 is their utmost power.
Why, our battalion trebles that account. Besides, the king's name is a tower of strength, which they upon the adverse party want. Let's want no discipline. Make no delay, for lords, tomorrow is a busy day.
The weary sun hath made a golden set, and by the bright track of his fiery car gives signal of a goodly day tomorrow. Come, gentlemen, let us consult upon tomorrow's business in our tent. The air is raw and cold.
What is it o'clock?
It is supper time, my lord. It is 9 o'clock.
I will not sup tonight. Give me some ink and paper, bid my guard watch. Leave me. Tyrell! About the mid of night, come to my tent and help to arm me. Leave me, I say.
O thou, whose captain I account myself, look upon my forces with a gracious eye. Put in their hands thy bruising irons of wrath, that they may crush down with the heavy fall upon the helmets of our adversaries. Make us thy ministers of chastisement, that we may praise thee in the victory. To you I do commend my watchful soul. Ere I let fall the windows of mine eyes, sleeping and waking, O defend me still.
Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. Poor Clarence, by thy guile betrayed to death. Tomorrow, in the battle, think on me and fall thy edgeless sword. Despair and die. Thou offspring of the house of Lancaster, the wronged heirs of York do pray for thee. Good angels guard good Richmond. Live and flourish.
Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. Rivers that died at Pomfret, despair
and die.
Think upon Grey, and let thy soul despair.
Bloody and guilty, guiltily awaken in a bloody battle, end thy days. Think on Lord Hastings, despair, and die. Quiet, untroubled soul, awake, Richmond. Arm, fight, and conquer for fair England's sake. Good angels guard good Richmond. Live and flourish.
Richard, thy wife, that wretched Anne, thy wife that never slept a quiet hour with thee, now fills thy sleep with perturbations. Tomorrow in the battle, think on me, despair, and die. Dearest Richmond, sleep thou a quiet sleep. Dream of success and happy victory. Thy adversary's wife doth pray for thee. Good angels guard good Richmond. Live and flourish.
The last was I that helped thee to the crown. The last was I that felt thy tyranny. Oh, in the battle, think on Buckingham, and die in terror of thy guiltiness. Dream on, of bloody deeds and death. Fainting, despair, despairing, yield thy breath. I died for hope, ere I could lend thee aid. But cheer thy heart, and be thou not dismayed. God and good angels fight on Richmond's side.
Have mercy, Jesus! Soft. I did but dream. O coward conscience, how dost thou afflict me? Cold, fearful drops stand on my trembling flesh. What do I fear? Myself? There's none else by. Is there a murderer here? No. Yes, I am. Oh no. Alas, I rather hate myself for hateful deeds committed by myself. I am a villain. Yet, I lie. I am not. Fool! Of thyself speak well. Fool, do not flatter. My conscience hath 1,000 several tongues, and every tongue brings in a several tale, and every tale condemns me for a villain. I shall despair. There is no creature loves me, and if I die, no soul will pity me. Nay, wherefore should they, since that I myself find in myself no pity to myself.
Good morrow, Richmond.
Oh, cry mercy, lords, watchful gentlemen, that you obtained a tardy sluggard here.
How have you slept, my lord?
The sweetest sleep and fairest boding dreams that ever entered a drowsy head have I since your departure had, my lords. I promise you, my soul is very jocund upon the remembrance of so fair a dream. How far into the morning is it?
Upon the stroke of 4.
Why then 'tis time to arm and give direction. More than I have said, loving countrymen. The leisure and enforcement of the time forbids to dwell upon, yet remember this. God and our good cause fight upon our side. For who was he they follow? Truly, gentlemen, a bloody tyrant and a homicide. One raised in blood and one in blood established. One that made the means to come by what he hath and slaughtered those that were the means to help him. If you do sweat to put a tyrant down, if you do free your children from the sword, then in the name of God and all those rights, advance your standards, draw your willing arms. For me, the ransom of my bold attempt shall be this cold corpse on the earth's cold face. And if I thrive, the least of you shall share his part therein. Sound drums and trumpets boldly and cheerfully. God and St. George, Richmond and victory!
Go, gentlemen, every man unto his charge. Let not our babbling dreams affright our souls. Conscience is but a word that cowards use, devised at first to keep the strong in awe. Our strong arms be our conscience, swords our law. March on, join bravely, let us to it pell-mell. If not to heaven, then hand in hand to hell. Remember whom you are to cope withal, a sort of vagabonds, rascals, and runaways, a scum of Bretons and base lackey peasants, whom their o'ercloyed country vomits forth to desperate ventures and assured destruction. Let's whip these stragglers o'er the seas again! These famished beggars, weary of their lives, shall these enjoy our lands, lie with our wives, ravish our daughters? Hark, I hear their drum. Fight, gentlemen of England! Fight, bold yeomen!
Rescue! Rescue! The king enacts more wonders to the man. Daring and opposite to every danger, all on foot he fights. Seeking for Richmond and foe death, rescue, or else the day is lost.
A horse! A horse! My kingdom for a horse!
Withdraw, my lord. I'll help you to a horse.
Slave! I have set my life upon a game, and I will stand the rolling of the dice. I think there be 6 Richmonds in the field. 5 have I slain today instead of him!
God in your arms be praised, victorious friends. The day is ours. The bloody dog is dead. Enter their bodies as becomes their birth. Proclaim a pardon to the soldiers fled, that in their submission shall return to us. England hath long been mad and scarred herself. The brother blindly shed the brother's blood. The father rashly slaughters his own son. The son, compelled, been butchered to the sire. All is divided York and Lancaster, and made poor England weep in streams of blood. But now civil wounds are stopped. Peace lives again, that she may long live here. God, say amen.
Amen.